And joining me now is one of our outsiders' favourites, filmmaker Ami Horowitz. Ami, before we get to your astonishing footage from college campuses in the US, tell me what has been the reaction today to the meeting between President Joe Biden and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky?
I think still we have overwhelming support, bipartisan support for Ukrainian assistance. And I think we're now seeing for the first time kind of grumbling actually on both ends of the party, saying, well, that's a lot, additional billions of dollars that we're sending out to Ukraine that could be used here. I think for the most part, people are still supportive. I think that this is a free kick, a free opportunity to kind of smack Putin around without being directly involved. So I think it's an opportunity we should take advantage of. I found it actually interesting that some news came out about Biden slapping down Zelensky a little bit when Zelensky got a little bit frisky on how much he wanted it for aid in June. Biden, he showed some backbone, I got to say, when he said, hey, Zelensky, have a little bit of gratitude for what we're giving you. Actually, I appreciated that. So, hey, I don't have an opportunity often to say Biden did a good job, but hey, Joe, not bad.
Well, as they say, even a broken clock is right twice a day, and Joe Biden occasionally does get it right. But I have to get to your footage, because if you told most people that you went to prestigious American universities and people there would donate money to terrorist groups, or in the video we're about to see, support a 5-year-old medically transitioning, well, they think you were pulling their leg. But that is precisely what has happened. Here you are at UCLA collecting signatures from people supporting little Annie, who is 5 years old and wants to medically transition despite her terrible parents saying she shouldn't. Let's have a look.
Annie Rodriguez is a 5-year-old girl of color, and she wants to transition, but her bad parents won't let her. Would you guys mind signing a support for her? Sure. Thank you. Little Annie Rodriguez is a 5-year-old girl of color, and she wants to transition, and her parents aren't letting her. And we're trying to petition support for her.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
At 5, she has a right to be who she wants to be, correct?
I agree.
I think she knows what she is.
Right.
I think she's fully developed enough to realize that. Her parents think that she can't make that kind of decision, and we think she can. And I think she's ready to make a decision like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you're coming up to people during a pandemic, I think you should at least be wearing a mask.
But for little Annie Rodriguez.
You really cared about her and wanted to talk to people so that we put a mask on while talking.
What do you think about parents who won't let their kids transition? How do you feel about that?
It's not great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you think about parents who won't let the kids transition? What are your thoughts?
Not very open-minded.
I mentioned she's 5 years old,
Okay.
and they're against it. She wants to go. She feels strongly about it.
How old is she?
She's 5.
She wants to do the transition now.
Correct.
As a 5-year-old. Okay.
Great.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
But I would say that they do know how they feel.
I think you know how I feel.
Yeah.
I agree. And if they feel like they should go through the steps, hormone, surgery, I think that's more healthy for them.
I agree.
And that their parents should take a step back and let their kids do what they feel is right.
I'm glad that you're doing this.
Thank you very much.
Really amazing.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
Yes, I'm glad you're doing this as well. The only person who had an issue with you there was the mask Karen, who wanted you to mask up, but you were getting all sorts of praise, particularly from the ladies.
Well, I always get praise from the ladies, Rita. Come on, that's nothing new for me. It's one of those things when I'm sitting in my living room and I'm sipping on some scotch. I'm trying to come up with a new idea for a video, and I came across this idea. I said to myself, come on, there's no way I can get these people to support a 5-year-old medically transitioning. But lo and behold, these idiots never, ever, ever surprise. They, in fact, did it. And, you ask me kind of why I do these videos. And I'll tell you, I don't do it for the right. I do it for the center left. Because if you ask people in the center left and you say, hey, does the hard left believe in open borders? They go, no way. Does the hard left believe in the destruction of capitalism? They go, no, these are Fox News, Sky News, right-wing talking points. If you ask them, does the left support a 5-year-old medically transitioning? They will say, absolutely not. But what I'm proving right, in my videos is that that's exactly the case. These are the things the left supports. And in this case, we showed how they would support a 5-year-old, not a 5-year-old putting on a dress, a 5-year-old going through surgery and hormone therapy in order to transition. That's where we've devolved as a society, Rita.
And I love the reaction from that one woman who was a little bit taken aback that the 5-year-old was going to begin the transition now medically, but then thought about it and thought, oh, good on you. Yes, I'll back that. There's just incredible what they can rationalise. But let's have a look at something else you expose beautifully, the white saviour complex. Here you ask a bunch of white folks in New York whether the police should be defunded, and they're all very enthusiastic on behalf of the black community. But then you go to a black community in Harlem and the locals had a very different take.
How much better off would the black community be if we dismantled the police?
I think infinitely, honestly.
How much better off would the black community be if we separated the police from them?
How much better off would we all be?
I'd rather have something that doesn't work without them than what we currently have, which is something that doesn't work with them.
The police should go back to being, members of the community.
Abolish the police.
Absolutely.
I think that they are disgusting.
Policing in this country is about keeping black people down.
They're monsters.
I hate the police.
Police arose out of slave-catching patrols. The police are an occupying army.
What do you think of the people who say, oh, your community will be better off if there was no police?
I think they're full of crap. I think they're being somewhat ignorant.
How dangerous do you think it would make this neighborhood if that was the case?
Very dangerous, because it would be crazy. People would be just going crazy. You know what I mean? It would be worse than what it is. Robbery, looting, raping, murder.
I think there was a movie like that. I think it was called The Purge. What would you think would happen in this community if they looked to abolish the police?
Be happening.
Abolishing the NYPD, that'd be suicide.
But yes, they're needed. I put for them to be here.
There's too many criminals out here, man. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't feel safe.
Ami, what's going on there? How do these white liberals or leftists, we call them in this country, how are they so misinformed about what members of the black community actually feel about police?
It is insane how patronizing the left is toward black people. You want to talk about racism that exists? It's the left and how they think about black people. I mean, it's incredible. And yeah, white savior complex, that's exactly what it is. They think we know better than your community. We know what's good for you, and we think we should abolish the police. When I shot that video in Harlem, I didn't come across a single black person who thought this was a good idea. Not one. In fact, they looked at me saying, this is total insanity. I know people are calling for it, but we live in this community. We understand what it's like. And not only did not want to abolish the police, the reality is the NYPD has a great relationship with the black community overall. And I remember, this goes back to another video I did years ago where I actually had a petition to get the NYPD out of Harlem, and not a single person would sign it. They said, are you crazy? We don't want that. Look, this is the world that we live in. It's two worlds that seem to inhabit the same space. The world that the left lives in and the world where the rest of us live in. And yeah, that's the thing that kills me, is that the black community supports the Democratic Party overwhelmingly. And I think that if they actually got to the crux of what the Democratic Party believes about them and their community, that's where we can break that relationship.
Well, that support is overwhelming, as you said. Something like 90% plus of the black vote in America goes to the Democrats. Astonishing, given what they've done to some of those Democrat strongholds. The Democrat politicians have not served those communities well at all. And we're seeing some very lax law and order policies in those Democrat strongholds like New York and California, and it's emboldening criminals. Let's have a look at this footage from a Nike store in California. Now, Ami, you have to steal now more than $950 for it to be a felony theft in California. That sounds like unsound policy to me.
And guess what the result of that policy is? Criminals aren't that stupid, so they steal under $950. In fact, I remember just a couple weeks ago, I was in San Francisco, and I was coming out of a store, and I saw a woman. She was being yelled at by the store owners, and I was looking at what's going on, and she's walking out with a bunch of stuff right in front of me, and there's a police officer standing right there. And the police officer, this is literally what happened. He goes, "Ma'am, could you please hand that stuff back to the store?" She goes, "No." And he goes, "Okay." What happened in front of me? I couldn't believe it.
Unbelievable, because I guess the cops are thinking, well, if it's under $950, it's a misdemeanor, it's not a felony. Is it worth my time to take any action here? And they're often not. And stores are closing in so many places where they were thriving just a few years ago. Ami Horowitz, always a pleasure. Speak to you again soon.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you, Rita.